Anybody? What's the next question? You said someone was there.
I'm sorry, this program that Pastor just mentioned, 7 levels of preparation, it will be ready in English in 1 month.
It's a translation. It's been translated to English. Somebody said he was going to pay for it. I don't know if they are paying for it, but somebody is paying for it just for it to you are the one paying for it. He said, I'm going to pay for it. Just get it for me in English. So it's going to be ready soon. But other people are going to benefit because of you. This is Pastor Danny from Canada. Huh?
I just want to share one thing. When I heard about that, I wanted to get it because I have a young girl in our church. Our church is just 1 year. She came a month after, so she's only 10 months. And I've been applying what I've been hearing from you. Just last week, she started her own youth program.
Yeah!
Just last week. She's the only one. She's a single mother with 3 young children.
My God.
And she started her own youth program based on what the little bit I've been telling her from what Pastor Sunday is doing. So I want to learn more because it's working. She's got her own website already. It's called Roy, R-O-Y, Rock Out Youth.
Wonderful.
So I said, I'll do whatever I have to do. I'll pay whatever I have to pay. Just get me this information so I can begin to impart it on others.
Wonderful. Can you imagine if you could teach 10% of your church members to go out and be a world changer like that? You are on a dangerous ground.
Well, Pastor, I think I can say that our daughter is doing something similar in our church.
Okay.
She's just sold out for God to do so many things for young people. And she has this program going on in our church at this point in time. And thank God
What
for
particular program?
What did she call it?
Calling the youth together from one Friday a month, just to discuss, talk, have some snacks. Sometimes it's overnight.
Now, the difference between what we are talking about and this one is that, you see, you will always, in every church, you will always find some initiative people who start one program or the other here and there, just one bright light in a dark crowd. But we are talking about putting it on a conveyor, like doing a system whereby everybody in your church could be taken from salvation level to beginning, not just a gifted, sister or a gifted brother who is just, but we are talking about a system operating in your local church, whereby you are engineering and gearing every one of your members. Take just a system. I'm no more interested. I don't know how it works anymore. I'm a pastor. I'm the senior pastor, so I don't even know all these stages. I don't teach in them. I don't go through them. I don't even know, because a system is working. That is what we're talking about, and that's why he needed the translation.
That's exactly where I was going, because I wanted to be able to help her even further, because I can see the fire in her.
But why do you focus just on her? I'm saying you could have this program, not just for the one that is specially gifted like her, but you could actually have this program to train all your members and make them become like her.
That's right, Pastor, and that's part of my question, which is, how can you now help? I mean, for this particular church, it started from the very scratch, from the very beginning. But if you are in a church where you have so many Christians already, and you need to reorientate
Send them back to the ABC school, my brother. Even if they are bishops, when you join our church here, even if you are bishop of your own church, you still have to start from the scratch here, man. Because those religious spirits, they are the ones that we fight with the most. Thank you, my brother. Who is there? Yes?
Hi, okay. Pastor.
Yeah.
Could you teach me how you started your church and then multiplied those services to some 40 services now in the city? Do you have to maintain a father-sonship relationship? How do you maintain the vision? And if you could build one large congregation, would you pull everybody back together?
Okay. Now, that's a very good question. Now, let me say that God pushed me to the point where I had to do that, having churches all over the city. The first situation that pushed me to it was, I started this church in Kiev with 7 people, and here we are in 3 years' time, we were 3,000 people. And of course, you know my story. The first 4 years, I couldn't have one person, one white person. But when God gave me this strategy already, that go for the down and out, in the next 3 years, we were 3,000. Then all hell broke loose. Then the government wanted to destroy me because I become a threat. Gathering so many people in a city, in one place here, they see you as a revolutionary threat, as a political threat. So, and everybody began to point at me, saying that I was the one pulling all this crowd. So on one hand, half of the people were saying he must be a really gifted person, talented person, and they were looking at me like a superstar. On the other hand, the government was saying if we could eliminate him, we'll get rid of this movement. So on one hand, my people were seeing me as a superstar. I had a problem with that because that was going to put me on the pedestal, which is good for me, but I knew it would be a deterrent eventually to what God was calling me to do for them. So I needed to prove to them that I was not special, that I was not a specially anointed person, that I was not better than them, that they could actually do as much as I could do. So on one hand. On the other hand, the government wanted to destroy me, eliminate me. And I needed to do something quick to prove to the government that it's not about me, it's about Jesus, that same Jesus could be in him, and still do the same thing. So when we were 3,000, I began to say, then God spoke to me that I made sure that you got into that situation so that I might teach you another secret of greatness. That you are not great yet as long as you are the only one pulling all this crowd by yourself. That your greatness will begin when your people who are sitting down there listening to you now will be able to pull the same crowd or be able to do the same thing. Yeah. So I started intensive leadership training, pastors training, ministers training, missions training. In 1 week, I was teaching my people, the radical ones. I began to pour myself into them. I was spending the minimum of 12 hours with my leaders every week. Minimum of 12 hours for the next 5 years. So in the next 5 years, I had produced at least about 30 key leaders that were so good that I could use them to plant churches, and whereby I will still have a meeting. I'm the senior pastor, I'm their pastor, but I made sure that I taught them as much as I knew, that I impacted my abilities and gifts into them, that I will be having a meeting in one room, and one auditorium, and they will be renting other auditorium in the city, and people who are used to coming to me will still go to them, to all these 7 places, and not feel they are losing anything. So that way, right now, only 40% or 30% of all our members in Kiev, maybe actually 20%, come to the central church where I preach. The rest of the 80%, they are all scattered among my children. That is my pride. Now, answering the second question, that is my pride because, on one hand, if we had been gathering here every Sunday, it would have been too small. So, but that's not a big deal. I could have second meeting or something like that. But that is failure on my side. If I were the superhero and doing all the miracles and gathering all the crowd and having a big ego, but that would still have been failure. So, but now we're having 40 services in 30 auditoriums of little Sundays. So I don't attract a lot of crowd at one time to intimidate the government. Then I still have churches gathering together at the time when I'm gathering some thousands here. So others are gathering hundreds or thousands all over the city, and they are good. So if they eliminate me, people will still keep on going to those ones, because even when I was around, they were still going to them anyway.
And they won't eliminate you.
They won't eliminate me. You're right. So now, how do you maintain the unity of the Spirit? That is very key, because when you do that, everybody was telling me that because the way I started this church is we had 3,000, then I pull out 200 and gave it to one of the first one. I pull out another 200, gave to another one, pulled out another 300, gave to another one, pull out another 500, give to another one. And I was thinking, hey, this was going to shrink, this was going down, this was going to go. But it never did. Huh? God is faithful. The more I was giving out, the more we were increasing. We were 3,000 now, we are 25,000 in one city. Yeah. Not all of them are equally as gifted, but still, we are no more 3,000, and we were just 3,000 when we started. But then I've been multiplied. Yes. I've been multiplied. Anyway, but how do we maintain the spirit, the unity of the spirit? Number one, I will meet, especially before I began to travel extensively, I will meet with these my pastors, all these my senior pastors in the city. I will meet with them at least, I used to meet with them twice, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, for 5 hours each. So 10 hours every week. Then they go back to their churches and hold their own services. Then apart from that, I also had other meetings with them. So I did that for like 6 years. 10 hours with them every week. Training, teaching them, and imparting to them. But apart from that, we still had a general combined meetings once a month. We still have that up to now. So all these churches come, not all their members come, but at least the core of those churches come together once in a month, and the pastors. So they are able to listen to the senior pastor. That's how we maintain the unity.
Thank you.
If we build our building, we will not bring everyone back. We will believe God by faith that God will fill that other building.
Amen. Thank you, sir. My name is Yemi and I come from London. I'm a pastor that needs to bring my own church, not from the 21st century, from the dark ages. Nigerians who understand what it is to go to a white garment church will understand the statements I have just made. And the Lord has said, I cannot leave the white garment church. So I know I'm in trouble for the sake of the Lord.
Yeah.
But I want to thank our pastor from Canada, and may the Lord replenish your pocket. But sir, I think I'm going to speak on behalf of, I know the History Maker Bible School in London, and I'm sure all the others. The 49 weeks, 7 steps. I'm humbled enough to say now that I think I don't know anything anymore. And I think before we can impart it in our own churches, I'm speaking for myself now. I need to go through those 7 times 7 steps. Maybe there'll be a way that within the Bible schools, the History Makers Bible schools, maybe we can go through it first before you can entrust us to go and teach our churches.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We have 40% of our students in London are pastors, actually. That's a good thing. So that way, because I would not like a situation like this to teach ordinary people who will go back to their churches and intimidate their pastors. We would not like that to happen. But right now, the way I think it's going to happen is we're going to produce that material, and then we're going to make them available to the pastors so that they could actually show their interest in it, then later go and teach their people in their churches. But maybe it's going to work out for the way you said it, but we still have to examine that. Who has the microphone now? Who is there? Yes.
Yes. It's good that we're talking of how to affect the society, but it is about leadership. And what is common with African churches is this ego of a team. You know, I'm a founder.
And the president.
And the president and general overseer. And then the church is monopolized to the detriment of Christ himself. How, if we could have a...
Frame your question faster, though. So
yes. I mean, how do you change this mentality of it's my church? And then that's number one. Two, how were you able to maintain this level of humility with all the photographs around the world? Yeah. Thank you.
For humility, that's the easiest thing for me to maintain. Because when you are in a hostile environment, like I am here, they are killing me every day, reminding me that I'm not really tough. Making me to realize that I'm really nobody. Despite all what God is doing through me here, there's so much opposition and so much humiliating and humbling experience on the other hand, that I think instead of asking the question about humility, the question should be, how do you keep on going? It's almost incredible, unbelievable that I will keep on going. I've survived 25 lawsuits. Right now, I'm at the verge of another lawsuit. Right now, they have collided together, political forces in this country, accusing me of stealing 120 million US dollars, sending it to Africa, and just impoverishing the people of Ukraine to my own gain. And they want to put me in jail for 12 years right now as I'm talking. But they are too small to do it. They are too small to do it. They have encountered a force that is greater than the expectation. A whole nation is not big enough to handle the power that is operating through this place. Amen. But they are hearing me, and I know I'm in more challenge right now, but we are going to face it, and we are going to pass through it. Amen. So I go through so much trouble that the last time, just 2 days ago, when they came to my house, and my wife was telling me, they came to collect all our cars. Just 2 days ago, to confiscate and arrest all my cars. And they are not even my cars because they are my wife's cars. And my wife was saying, sometimes you just want to say, God, we begin to feel what it means when instead of Jesus, that he's been counted among the transgressors, among the like a prisoner, like a criminal. Yes, criminal. So I know what it means. So, that keeps you humble big time, all the time, And when the police are surrounding your homes and coming back, going into your house, making search, looking for some $120 million that you never even saw $1 from. Calling into the police, surrounding you everywhere, asking you questions. And then when Parliament of a country is stopping once a year to discuss what to do with you to get rid of you. And when at least once a week, one politician or member of Parliament will say something in the newspaper about me, when every single day there is an article coming out about me. When in 1 month, I have up to 100,000 articles written about me. All negative. So you have to be constantly be dead, You have to be in a permanent dead situation. But also, you've got to be tough enough to still be positive about your God, about your calling, to still be confident, and to still keep on being a history maker. You could have been crushed, and it is almost impossible from that situation to still keep on ruling and reigning. So that is where grace is really necessary. Now, the second half of that question is, how do you deal with that with Africans who are thinking ego, my church, and something like that? Put them into some fire. Because when I go to America or to the West of America, England, Africa, I see why people are relaxed so much, because no troubles, no much trouble. What people call trouble, there are no trouble. People talk about challenges in church building, some members rebel or some pastors criticize or something. Those are not trouble. Those are just ordinary things that I'm dealing with without even winking. But Of course, the bottom line is to get rid of ego, you need to constantly crucify yourself. Maybe I wouldn't have had the same ability to crucify myself and to deal with the same ego, but God is helping me, you see. He helped Paul. He put some tongues around him. I have my own tongues as well, so they're helping me.
Praise God. My name is Aki. I want to find out, in this vision ownership system, how do you make sure that one person's mistake does not affect the image of the church?
That is exactly what I'm suffering now. That's exactly what has just happened to us now. This one company came down in our church. Now, can you imagine? But you must give me the credit. In 2 years, we formed a 1,000 business club, where we raised up 1,000 newly funded businesses. 1,000 people started their own businesses, and 2 of them became millionaires in 2 years. So that is history on its own. It's only Microsoft that has been able to do that. But we did it in his church. But when this economic crunch came, credit crunch, one company out of 1,000 went down so bad, and they couldn't return the money to people. It was like a financial center. So because of that, the government used it as an excuse that, oh, this is the time to catch Pastor Sunday because that guy goes to his church. So they now say, because they heard that I started a bank, a microfinance bank in Africa, they now connected the two and say, if that company came down in his church, we think it's a scheme. That the thing didn't really collapse. It was not credit. Maybe he just withdrew the money and went to start a bank in Africa because of it. And so they joined that together, and now they are forcing people to give evidence and testimony against to build the case, which we're not going to, cause it's going to fall apart because it's not true. What is not true, you will never be able to prove it. Anyway, so the mistake of these my guys, because they put their money, $40 million US, they put it in a land property business, and when property came down, they couldn't give the money back. They couldn't. Yes. So that is what. So the mistake of one is giving me the trouble I am in right now. So I've risked it. Is my wife here? No, she's gone. Okay. I've risked it all these years, and God has always seen me through. But as my apostle told me, that God gave you the grace all the time. Apostle Toff told me this when all these problems started, that you had the opportunity. You could do that when you were still growing and you were still limited. God covered it. Because I was using my resources to lift everybody, you put my name, my reputation on the line. I'm a fanatic of people. And that's almost killed me right now, because I put my stage, like I put people on the stage now. So what the police is using is that I presented these people with this business on the stage. Although on the stage, I didn't promote them. I was only asking them questions. What are your guarantees? What do you want to do? What are the, like I do right now. So, but they are now using that if you promoted it, you are interested in it. But that's just my principle of using my resources, everything we have to promote people, advance everybody. And anyway, so now Apostle Toff was telling me it is now dangerous for me, myself, to be doing those kind of things, because there is something to lose now. And it's not just losing myself, my reputation, my name, but all the millions of people. Our church, on daily basis, we have personal one-on-one touch contact with 1-point-something million people. So those people are affected. In 1 year, we work with 5-point-something million people on one-on-one, not radio, not television, one-on-one. So that is a nation on its own. 5 million people will be in jeopardy just because if one of those people fail. So it's a high price to pay. So now my biggest challenge is, I'm still thinking, I don't know if I have answered this question yet, because the easiest answer is to do it like the way all the churches do it. The pastor is the pastor, don't come, no, I'm the chief here. But that's exactly what I'm breaking. So I am breaking the concept of the pastor is the pastor, is the chief commander-in-chief, and is the king, and all the people are just the subjects. But what the church we are building here is the concept of we are all kingdom of kings. So all of us are kings. So this stage and this pulpit belongs to everybody. It's to help you become your own king in your own sphere. So I don't want to break that concept, because the kingdom of king and priest is what God has called us to be. We are all supposed to be kings and priests in this kingdom, kings. And the church is supposed to make you into that king, make you into that priest. So I want how to do that now and not jeopardize or risk whatever grace God has put here. Is what I'm still struggling with that. Apostle Tuff is suggesting to me that I should put my people in place that will shake everybody, and but that we are trying to do that too, but we don't want to do it in such a way that will also lose the freedom we are giving people, the empowerment we are giving people. So I'm still in a dilemma, and I need your help in that area. But don't let that stop you. It's my trouble. God will get me out. Give them freedom first. When you get in your own trouble, to God will get you out. But maintain the freedom first. Make sure you maintain the freedom. Make sure you maintain the freedom.